last sentence. May, you did a great job. Eventually, Constantine fled and joined his father in Gaul in the Western Roman Empire. He spent a year in Britain fighting alongside his father. So, as many Roman emperors do, even though he was a common person, he is going to fight in the army and he is going to rise up through the ranks to get that notoriety. All right. I'm going to lower hands now. Are there any questions / is there anybody who wants to read Becoming Emperor for a torch ticket? Not Niall.
Okay. When his father became ill, he named Constantine as emperor, or Augustus, of the western portion of the Roman Empire. Constantine then ruled over Britain, Gaul, and Spain. He became the strengthen and build up of the area. He built blank and cities. He moved his rule to the city of blank and Gaul, and built up the city's defenses and public buildings. Constantine began to conquer neighboring kings with his large army and expanded his portion of the Roman Empire. The people began to see him as a good leader. He also stopped the Christians in his territory.
Yep, and that's the persecution. So if you're reading, remember this reading that I have up right here, this has got all of those blanks filled in, so you can read off of the shared part of the screen, right? Can we see it? Okay, I just want to make sure that's presented, okay? So we have, as Constantine's father became ill, he starts to rule over that Western Empire, and eventually he is going to start expanding into neighboring kingdoms, which is the exact same thing Julius Caesar did. He must have learned a lot of history of former Roman emperors, right? And he's going to stop the persecution, which means the bad treatment of Christians, because he sees it as wrong. And a lot of people believe, as we're going to see here, that he may have been somebody who was a Christian his entire life. And that's why he decided to do that. Okay. I'll leave that end part up, but I need somebody to take over for Civil War. Somebody I haven't heard from yet. I know it's early, and I know we haven't had school in 5 days, but I would love to hear from somebody I haven't heard from yet for a torch ticket. It's about a 2-sentence paragraph. 3, 2, 1. Yelise, do you mind taking this one for us? Civil War.
Okay. When Galerius died in 31 AD, many powerful men wanted to take over the Roman Empire, and civil war broke out. A man named Maxentius declared himself emperor. He lived in Rome and took control of Rome and Italy. Constantine and his army marched against Maxentius.
So here's my question to you. What stories does this sound like with the first triumvirate? There's somebody who's out in Gaul and France, and then there's somebody back in Rome who is starting to threaten his life. Who is the other person in the Julius Caesar story? He was the one that ended up getting his head cut off and then given to Caesar. He was known as something the Great. What was that guy's name? Cardoso.
Alexander the Great?
Nope, not quite. Nope. He was known as Pompey the Great. This is literally the exact same story. It's just 350 years removed, right? There's somebody who's powerful outside the city of Rome. There's somebody inside of it. And Constantine is going to march down there and see if he can't take it over himself. Newsflash, he does. Okay, next person. Cardoso, sorry to put you on the spot. Would you mind taking Constantine Has a Dream for a torch ticket?
Okay.
I would love that. Thank you.
As Constantine approached Rome in 312, He had reasons to worry. His army was about half the size of Maxentius. I don't know really how to say that name.
Well, you said it perfectly, so you do know how to
Oh.
say it.
One night before Constrius faced Maximus in battle, he had a dream. In the dream, he was told that he would win the battle if he fought under the sign of the Christian's cross. The next day, he had his soldiers paint crosses on their shields. They dominated the battle, defeating Maxentius and taking control of Rome.
Right. So basically the night before, and this seems to happen a lot in ancient history when things look like they're not going to go very well for somebody, they will have some sort of experience where they see something and it gives them and their people some confidence. And Constantine says, look, guys, the morning that they're going to face Maxentius, I saw something when I went to sleep last night. I saw that apparently we are going to win this battle as long as we all etch the Christian cross on our shields. That is going to give us inner strength, and we are going to win because of it. Now, whether or not this ended up being the confidence that they needed, or they were already like much more skilled and they ended up winning, I couldn't tell you. But what I will tell you is that they did conquer under that symbol, the Christian cross, and they did win. So now Constantine is going to use that as a reason to say, look, there's something to this Christianity thing. Before, these people were persecuted and even killed. Well, now we just pulled off something great under their symbol. Something's up here. And in the end, Rome's going to end up becoming Christian because of it. All right, becoming a Christian. Michaela Shannon, if you would please. You are such an outstanding reader.
After taking Rome, Constantine forged an alliance with
Licinius
in the east. Constantine would be emperor of the west in
Licinius
in the east. In 313, they signed the Edict of
Milan,
which stated that the Christians would no longer be persecuted in the Roman Empire. Constantine would consider himself a follower of the Christian faith.
Okay, so the Edict of Milan is signed, which basically says, look, okay, we're not making Christianity the official religion of Rome, but you can't kill people for it anymore. You can't ridicule them for it anymore. And you have to let them worship as they please. Because beforehand, as you're going to read tomorrow, it didn't go well for Christians at first. They had to worship in secret, or they had to give up their religions, or they could maybe be killed. So it was a big deal. And Constantine starts to really show signs of him becoming a Christian himself as like a leader to really make that change, which, I mean, the Christian cross, according to him, brought his victory earlier, right? So it makes sense. All right, I'm going to take Emperor of all Rome, and then I want to volunteer for the next one. 7 years later, Licinius decided to renew persecution of Christians. Going against the Edict of Milan. Can't do that. Can't do that. Constantine wouldn't stand for this and marched against Licinius. After several battles, Constantine defeated Licinius and became ruler of a united Rome in 324. So once again, when it says Rome is united, this is Constantine, by the way. Rome is now united under one person. Gone is this tetrarchy. We'll say that Rome itself is this red color. It's not split up between 4 people anymore. It's all one color under one banner. This guy named Constantine the First, which if you guessed it, yes, he will become known as Constantine the Great. So what does he do to make Rome great like Augustus Caesar? Let's find out. Volunteer, please. All right, Cardoso. I'm going to cold call for somebody on the next one. Building in Rome.
Constantine left his mark in the city of Rome by building many new structures. He built a giant basilica.
Basilica, which is a type of church.
Oh, and the forum.
Mhm.
He rebuilt the Circus Maximus. Wait, right back. I got a spam call, my bad.
That's okay. He rebuilt the
He
Circus
rebuilt the
Maximus.
Circus Maximus to hold even more people. Perhaps his most famous building in Rome is the Arch of Constantine. He had a giant arch to build to
Commemorate, which means remember.
commemorate his victory over Maxentine.
So if you go to Rome, this arch is still there today. And it's one of the largest arches ever built. But really, I mean, the main reason it's so famous, it's definitely the most famous of all the victory arches, is because of the amount of artwork that's done on it. An insane amount of time, effort, and artwork is put into this arch, showing his victory over Maxentius, right? He doesn't want people to forget what he did. Once again, kind of having that big ego, right? That's something that we seem to see with all these the greats, even the ones that are remembered somewhat fondly. They all have that. All right, I am going to ask Grace Lalemsis, do you mind taking this, which is Constantinople?
Sure.
I would love that. Thank you.
Okay. In 330 AD,
Constantine.
Constantine established a new capital of the Roman Empire. He built it on the location of the ancient city of
Byzantium.
Byzantium. The city was named Constantinople after Emperor Constantine. Constantinople would later become capital of Eastern Roman Empire, also called the
Byzantine.
Byzantine Empire.
Okay, so Byzantium was right here. I'm going to show you on the big map. Now we're going to zoom in. This is the spot where the Persians invaded Greece by land, right? They crossed what's called the Hellespont here into Byzantium, down into Greece. Now, this is Constantinople, or, well, it used to be Byzantium, right here. It's an incredibly well-defended city on a point. It's insanely wealthy. There's easy ship access, so it's incredibly easy to set up trade networks. And a lot of the richest cities in the East are very near to it. It's well defended, and in the end, it ends up becoming way more wealthy than Rome ever was. So Constantine moves the capital to here, but he's not done, because not only does he move the capital to this Byzantium, he renames it after who? If it's called Constantinople, who's he renaming it after? May?
Constantine.
Yeah, he renamed it after himself. He's like, hey, I'm the one that brought Rome back together. I'm the one that found this brand new capital that's way better than the original. So just in case you don't forget, just remember, this city's named after me for a reason. I made it what it is. Not true. It was there for hundreds of years before, and it'll be there hundreds of years after, but it will be until the Byzantine Empire falls, like 1,000 years later. This city will be known as Constantinople. His death. Constantine ruled the Roman Empire until his death in 337. He was buried in the Church of the Holy Apostles in Constantinople. Of course, gets buried in the city that's named after him by himself. Fitting. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we've got 3 minutes left. Here's what I want to do. I'm going to leave this up here just in case there are some of you still taking notes, filling in those blanks from what we went through. But what I will do also is use this time to go through any of the questions on the exit ticket that you might have. Now, if you take a look in the question, I tried to be somewhat nice for my standards anyway, and I tried to give you the heading of the paragraph that these answers come from. But taking a look at it, as I have it up right now, are there any of these that you would like to go through together right now? Let's go with May.